Greetings, Capricorn and Capricorn Rising. This is your Western forecast for December 2024. If you've been watching my videos, you'll know that I like to usually start with where's the new moon. We have a new moon every 4 weeks. This new moon is going to make it really neat and clean because it's going to happen on December the 1st. And the next solar eclipse, the next new moon is in Capricorn on January the 1st. So all of December, the new moon in Sag is the central theme. But Sagittarius is the sign prior to Capricorn. It's called the 12th house because we have the 12 signs. And if you start with Capricorn as sign number 1, then Sagittarius would be sign number 12. It is now the sun is going to move into Capricorn January the 21st. So you're going to start seeing more light at the end of the tunnel, getting excited about going into your new birthday cycle, the new year, but especially the first 3 weeks with that new moon in your 12th house. Now this can be where you're feeling you're in transition, you're stuck, you're in a holding pattern with that 12th house. It is favorable, though, for doing a lot of studying, developing, researching behind the scenes. It's very favorable for any type of spiritual practices. That 12th house is also about ashrams, wellness retreats, spiritual retreats, to kind of go into reviewing the year, doing a lot of soul searching and introspection. The downside of the 12th house could be there's some disappointments, there's some letting go as you're wrapping up the old year to start the new year. But we also have Mercury's in retrograde and Mars is in retrograde. And for everybody, Mercury is communications. When it's retrograde, there could be miscommunications. Mars every 2 years goes retrograde. At the same time, Mars is impatient, it's irritable. With Mercury in retrograde, there could be a lot of irritability and fighting and jumping to conclusions. In more mundane astrology, which is about predicting world events, and that Mercury and Mars in retrograde, lots of protesting. Now, this new moon in Sagittarius is also going to be squared or inhibited by Saturn. Saturn's the ruler of Capricorn. So for the whole world, wherever Sagittarius is drawing your attention, there's these worries, there's these delays with the Saturn. Now, Mercury went into Sagittarius November the 2nd till January the 8th. And then it retrograde November the 25th through December the 15th. So the first 2 weeks of December, Mercury, decision-making, discerning Mercury, is retrograde in your 12th house. That could also be, now that could be favorable for just pulling away, being alone, and doing a deep dive with lots of studying and researching. Could also mean that you're keeping a lot of information, Mercury, to yourself. A lot of privacy issues. Now, Mars is going into Leo, which happened November the 3rd, which I talked about in last month's video, but it retrogrades in Leo on December the 6th through February the 23rd. So Mars in retrograde starting December the 6th, But Mercury was already retrograde when we went into December. Now, Mars is going to retrograde then to the end of February, and Mercury, it will go direct December the 15th, bringing in more clarity and focus about decision making. But it takes, you've heard that the shadow period of Mercury. So that means that when Mercury stops going backwards, and there's all that misunderstandings and and frustrations, December the 15th, it starts to go direct, bringing more clarity, more focus. But the Mercury is going very slowly because it had to slow down, stop, where it's going 0-degree movement, and then slowly moving forwards. So it takes about 2 weeks usually, which is called the shadow period, for the Mercury, the mind, to get back to its regular speed. So the mind is still sluggish, it's still not sure if it can trust itself for the last 2 weeks of December. But Mars is retrograde through the end of February. So the Mercury and the Mars in retrograde, there's going to be a lot of heated disagreements and protesting, jumping to conclusions. And that could be for Capricorns, with that Sag energy in your shadow sector, could really compel many Capricorns or Capricorn risings to want to hide, like get away, not engage, maybe go to a wellness spiritual center. Now, before I get into the impact of the Mars in retrograde, which occurs every 2 years, if you enjoy these kinds of videos and would like to see more of them, click like and subscribe. And don't forget to click on the notification bell so you can receive the latest postings. All right, in last month's video, I said that Mercury, decision-making, discerning Mercury, went into Sag, into your 12th, the shadow, the studying, the spirituality, from the beginning of November the 2nd. And it's there till January the 8th. Mars also went into Leo November the 3rd, and it's going to retrograde January the 6th till February the 23rd. But it's going to back out of, because it's retrograding, back out of Leo come January the 6th and retrograde back into Cancer for a couple of months. And I'll talk about that in detail in next month's video. So Mars in Leo is 8 signs past Capricorn. The 8th house has a lot to do with your financial obligations, loans, taxes, insurance, negotiating business contracts. There could be, but with it retrograde, there could be a lot of impatientness and heatedness and disagreements. The 8th house can also be dealing with things that are secretive and hidden. And Mercury is retrograde in the 12th house, which is also things that are behind the scenes and hidden. So it's either that you're all frustrated and maybe want to escape and get out of town by yourself, but you could be very frustrated because you have secrets and you are and you can't talk to anybody about it, or important people. Or you're sensing, because that 12th house is the house of spirituality also. So you might be more in tune, more intuitive, that you are feeling like something's up. And so 12th house, 8th house of the retrogrades are hidden matters. So if you don't have hidden matters, you might be feeling something's up here. I don't trust this. Now, The new moon is on December the 1st in Sagittarius. So there's a lot of this holding back, a lot of this kind of self-discovery or a waiting pattern. Anyhow, what was the ideas that were being planted December the 1st? 2 weeks later, from a new moon, is a full moon. And the full moon, December 15th, so somewhere around the 14th, 15th, 16th, the full moon reveals what's going to work and not working of what you set into motion December the 1st, the beginning of December. And in the 12th house, it could be that you are making plans, but you are behind the scenes, but you're waiting to see what's going to pan out, what's going to work. So the full moon around the 15th is in your 6th house. And the 6th house can deal with health matters, but with the full moon there, it just might be that you're realizing the holidays, you're drinking too much, you're eating too much, oh my God, you just gained 7 pounds, and you could be all of a sudden hitting you with the full moon. You got to get back to a healthier diet. That could all be what that means in general. But the 6th house can also be your job or your day-to-day job routine and responsibilities. And so things that might have been going on behind your back that you weren't so sure about, unless you were planning a job change and keeping it all secret, it all starts to be revealed around the full moon, around the 15th to 16th. But this full moon is in a square to Neptune. The new moon was in a square, that's at 90-degree angle of internal conflict to restricted delaying Saturn for the whole month. But for several days, the full moon in Gemini is squaring Neptune. Now with health matters, because of Neptune, you could be feeling really tired and weak, maybe low-grade depression, or basically just no energy that goes along with the Sun and Mercury in the 12th house of the shadow. But it could also mean that at your job, that things that have been going on behind your back, because you may be sensing something is up, then the full moon will reveal what's been hidden, and with the Neptune, could bring in this sense of disappointment. Now, Venus is the planet of love and harmony. It's a very benefic planet. Venus goes through each sign about once a month, goes through all the signs once a year. December the 6th, the day Mars goes retrograde, pleasurable, creative, romantic Venus goes into Aquarius. Aquarius is the sign after Capricorn. It's what we call the second sector. And in basic astrology, the second sector deals with your personal income. It can deal with your possessions. Psychologically, it could be dealing with self-worth matters. But just look with Capricorn is very security-oriented. And having pleasurable Venus starting December the 6th, hanging out in your second house of income, Venus can do one of two things. You can, if you're being more practical, conservative Capricorn, you can spend less and save more, and the Venus will bring in more attracting of monies. The worst case scenario, which is not typical of Capricorns, is Venus can be with desire. And you could be, maybe because of the holidays, you could be spending way too much money. If there's any disruptions with your job, the Venus could bring you a severance package. The Venus could bring you a new job right away, especially as the Sun leaves Sagittarius on the 21st of December and goes into Capricorn. So now the sun is in your first house of new beginnings and visibility. Now the new moon, January the 1st, is in Capricorn. So all of January 2025, with the new moon in Capricorn, is on a lot of taking the lead, new beginning, more confidence, coming out of the shadow. Now, the new moon in Sag and Mercury in Sag is still holding that behind the scenes, transitional, confusing energies for all of December. But the last week, December 21st, when the sun goes into Capricorn, it's not becoming the main theme, not till January the 1st and thereafter. But it can be when you're starting to see some light at the end of the tunnel. So more hope and prosperity. So I want to thank you for watching. If you like information on how to book an astrology reading or to check out my 2-question offer, visit my website at gardino.co. That's .co. Until next month, be safe and well.